So No Man's Sky has been going pretty strong for the last 7 years, and Hello Games keep pumping out free content updates multiple times a year, which is a great reason for both existing players to return to the game and for new players to pick it up for the first time. But now, with increased competition in the sci-fi genre and a non-consistent income stream, could No Man's Sky's days be numbered? Well, let's go ahead and find out. So, for the best part of the last 7 years, following the disastrous launch of the game back in 2016, Hello Games have been adding a number of major updates to No Man's Sky multiple times a year at no charge whatsoever to the player, which is both fantastic and almost unheard of in the gaming industry these days. Now, these updates, when released, will bring back existing players, including myself, for a short period of time to experience all of this new content and continue where they left off as well. They also bring in new players each time. But one thing you may or may not know is this only raises a player count for a short amount of time, usually say a month and 2 months at a stretch, and then the figures go back to their lower levels once again. Now, I suppose this could be expected to a degree because new content means players want to see what it's about, but the issue is how long they actually keep the players interested and back on the game. Now, a lot of players, like myself, will come back, play a few hours, and then go off onto another game until the next update. Now, I've mentioned multiple times in my videos over the years, but I think No Man's Sky suffers from being as wide as an ocean but as deep as a puddle, so it doesn't keep players, both new and returning, interested for long enough. The important thing to know is the player count drops back down to previous levels a month or so after an update, according to the SteamDB stats anyway. And the player rise following an update doesn't go above previous levels, which means, at least in theory, the game isn't really any more appealing than it used to be even with all of these new updates. And this is a bit of an issue, because eventually new games and competition will be hitting the market to pique players' interest instead of No Man's Sky. Like, if you take a look at Starfield, for example, I've found myself putting many more hours into Starfield than I have in No Man's Sky since it was released a couple of months ago. And even then, that was just after the Echoes update was released. In fact, I've not really played that much No Man's Sky at all since the end of October. Like, I've been playing a variety of other games instead, including Starfield. Now, I often play No Man's Sky at the moment to record footage for my YouTube videos, and this is becoming an issue, because No Man's Sky is losing its pulling power and its replayability. When you've played the game as much as I have, it gets to a point where you can't really achieve anything new. You won't see anything new, you won't do anything new. Like, I've got all the money in the world on there and nothing to spend it on. I've got a fully upgraded ship, a top of the range freighter, multiple bases, and so on. Now, I get this is a feature of many games, but other games get sequels and have more in-depth stories which, when you finish, you can do the side stuff or move on to something else. In the long run, I don't think this is sustainable for Hello Games to solely rely on No Man's Sky for revenue. Like, the game is already 7 years old and they can't keep adding updates to it forever, especially when it still supports old generation consoles that are already a decade old. Game development is an incredibly expensive industry and eventually people will stop buying No Man's Sky in favour of other titles, so eventually it will get left behind. And without another source of income, Hello Games could be royally screwed. Sure, they can add more updates and whatever, but the average player count hasn't really risen in years for the game, meaning the revenue probably won't have risen much either. Now, I think Hello Games also realise this isn't a sustainable business model as well, because as we know, they're actually working on another game right now. So early in 2022, Sean Murray came out and said, and this is a direct quote, "For a while now, we've been working on something pretty ambitious in the background." And then he goes on to say, similar to No Man's Sky, it's the kind of projects that even if we had 1,000 people working on it, it would still seem impossible. And that's basically all we know so far. And for a good reason. They blabbed too much too early about No Man's Sky, so they should keep this new project under wraps as long as is possible. But here's the issue for No Man's Sky, because Hello Games are a small team, and with some people already focused on this new project, you'd like to think the closer they get to completing this new project, they're focusing more effort and time into it, meaning No Man's Sky will be on the back burner. And I personally think that's when we're going to start to see the end of No Man's Sky. So when this game comes to fruition, a team the size of Hello Games cannot effectively maintain two huge games at the same time. And speaking of this new game, we currently know absolutely nothing about it, apart from the fact that it's super ambitious and has been in development now for a couple of years. So, what do you think it'll be about? Me personally, I don't want it to be a No Man's Sky 2, and I want it to be something totally different because, well, you can't really do a No Man's Sky 2. Like, are they going to make it bigger and better? It can't really get any bigger, and they're already making it better by content updates. Like, what could they really do differently to make a sequel where instead, like I said, you can just add these updates? Let me know your thoughts on this new project in the comments section below. Now, of course, there is a flip side to all of this, and the main one is there is still a highly active No Man's Sky community who absolutely adore the game and will keep playing it to death as long as it still gets updates. And that's not a bad thing because it seems that Sean and co haven't really run out of ideas yet, or so they say. They still have the desire to do all of the updates as long as people are willing to play the game. Now, I really enjoy all these new updates we get every year to evolve the game, and I actually think they're great. My only issue is it doesn't bring me back for as long as it used to. Like, I find myself playing, say, 10 to 15 hours of it and then going back to something else every single time. Now, my theory is I think Hello Games will continue to add updates until its 10-year anniversary, or until a time comes when this new project is ready to be announced to the world. And from that point, that will be their main focus and No Man's Sky will hit the back burner. Now, that's not to say we're going to stop getting updates, but we'll definitely stop getting as many and as much in them. Unless, of course, Hello Games doubles its size, which is unlikely because they like being a small team, as Sean has said in the past. Now, after all this, I'm definitely not suggesting updates will stop anytime soon, but they will do eventually, and likely when this new project is close. Releasing just one game in 7 years and sending out free updates is not a sustainable business model in the gaming industry, so Hello Games will certainly need something new. And not to mention the developers of the game might get tired of working on the same thing for like, I don't know, a decade. So they'll either part ways with Hello Games or start working on this new project instead. But for as long as No Man's Sky is receiving updates, I will be creating No Man's Sky videos on my channel. But it is getting slower and slower, so I'll likely start adding new games in, including Starfield, from now on. So, you've heard my thoughts on the longevity of No Man's Sky, now I want to hear from you. How long do you think No Man's Sky has left receiving numerous free updates per year? And what do you think about this new secret project? Let me know in the comments section below. Now, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you're still here, it would be totally awesome if you could support my channel by hitting those like and subscribe buttons. You can also become a channel member as well, where I'll be posting coordinates to a whole bunch of super rare and unique items and places to visit. You'll also get some unique emojis and badges when leaving a comment, so what's not to love, right? And as always, thank you for watching this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.